Coming to a new period of time at Liverpool Football Club, Jurgen Klopp has departed after 9 years at the club, and Arne Slot is the man to replace him starting the 1st of June when he begins his reign as Liverpool manager on a 3-year contract. Now, it begs the question, which of this group of Klopp players, this club that's been bred in his identity, this group of players who have learnt one way of football for an extended period of time for a lot of them, who will remain at the club next season? Who will be playing Arne Slot's brand of football when the Dutchman comes in to take over the reins at Liverpool Football Club? And today I'm going to give my opinions on who I think should do it, not what I think Arne Slot will do. This is my thoughts on whether I would keep, sell, loan, or there's players already leaving that have been confirmed. So I'm going to put them into the categories you can see on the tier list. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. There are a few on here that are a little bit controversial. If you disagree with them, if you agree with them, let me know. And make sure to hit like and subscribe. 500 by the end of next month is the aim. So let's see if we can make that happen. And also go check out my last video where I discussed Pochettino leaving Chelsea and the shambles that Chelsea are at the moment. Because let's be honest, it's a bit of a shit show over there. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So there's a lot of players to cover. So there's a few that I'm just going to sort of breeze through and a few that are definitely going to be more of a discussion. So players like Cade Gordon, for example, is a loan. He needs it after the injury, absolutely. And the same with Ben Doak. They're just players that need to go out and get some game time, some experience, maybe at championship level, build up their fitness again. And then when they come back, we'll see what Arne Slot can make of them. Now, there's a couple players on here, so I don't want to do all the forwards to begin with, so we're going to mix it up a little bit. So we've got Badge. He's another one who I personally think could do with a loan. He's just come back from a really serious injury. He's been out for pretty much the whole season. He's only featured in the last 2 games of the season and the Europa League early on in the group stages. He's not had enough game time. Slot isn't going to know anything about him. He's going to need to work his way back up to fitness. I think a loan away, the likes of what we've seen with Tyler Morton, Fabio Carvalho, that kind of thing could really benefit him. Next up, we've got Connor Bradley, who is an absolute keep. I think he's been an absolute revelation this season when Trent's been injured. We've not missed Trent, let's put it that way. And when you're not missing one of the best right backs in the world, you know that you've fallen onto grace, because he is unbelievable in the Chelsea game earlier this season in particular. I thought he was outstanding, so he is definitely a keep. He's one for the future. Next up, we have Thiago Alcantara, who is leaving to the disappointment of many Liverpool fans. I am not particularly one of them. I think he's a fantastic player. When he did play, he looked world class, but he never played. I think in 4 seasons, it was 94 games. He was always injured, high wages. I think him moving on is the best thing for us and him. I would have liked to have maybe recoup the transfer fee for him, but it is what it is. It's a lot of wages off the books. Best of luck to Thiago. Next up, let's go to a forward this time. I think Cody Gakpo is one who we're definitely going to keep. Arne Slot loves wingers. He likes wingers that will invert. He likes wingers that will cross paths with each other, create space for the main striker. And I think Gakpo will be perfect at that. Gakpo is best when he's cutting inside, coming into the middle of the park to have a go at goal or create chances for others. I don't see him going. I don't see him leaving. He's just started to find his rhythm at the end of the Jurgen Klopp era. Different styles of play, but I think if he can keep that momentum going, keep his fitness up, then there's a real possibility for him to break into this team. I think Slot will have seen Gakpo in the past, obviously from his time at PSV. Arne Slot would have been observing him from Feyenoord and AZ Alkmaar. So yeah, we'll see if we can get a rhythm out of him. Then we have the first controversial one, I think people will say, and that is Endo. I personally would be selling Endo. I think this summer we need a number 6, a solid out-and-out number 6. Arne Slot likes to play with 4-2-3-1. He likes 2 midfielders that can drop deep. Endo has been fantastic at points, but he is in his 30s. I think now is the time where he is going to start running down his legs a little bit. He's on a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract, I can't remember off the top of my head. Recoup some money for the rebuild of this squad, because we know that's what FSG do. It's sell to buy. Endo is one of the players who I think is the most disposable in this team. purely because of his age, not too much because of his ability, but we need to sign new midfielders, and keeping Endo around for another season or two might sort of hamper our desire to go out and buy someone. It's when James Milner was there and Henderson, age was getting to them, you could see it, but because they were there and could still do a relative job, we weren't investing the money in the midfield, and we got as much out of them as we could, and by the time that we realised it was time for them to go, it was too late, and we had the season where we finished 5th. So it's time to look to the future. Bajtic going out on loan, sell Endo, bring in a new number 6, and utilise other midfielders in this squad. One of those, by the way, Bobby Clark, is an absolute keep. I think he's been a phenomenal player when he's played. The cup final against Chelsea, the Europa League where he got a goal against Slavia Prague, I believe it was. He's been great, and it's a real refreshing sign to see these young players come in and not miss a beat. He's one of the best young players to have stepped up in recent years because he just fits straight into the team. We remember when Jordan Rossiter came through, when Ben Woodburn came through, they had all this hype and momentum. Rossiter after the Middlesbrough goal, Ben Woodburn after the Leeds goal. Clark needs to keep that up, and I think loaning him out or selling him is just a waste. He needs to stay with this club because he's one of the midfielders, the young midfielders, who really fits into this team. Next up, we've got Dominik Szoboszlai, a keep. He did dip off a cliff after the West Ham Cup game. He didn't really show up again the rest of the season. The Man United game in particular, I thought he was pretty awful. But there's a talented player there. He's 23 years old. We signed him for a big fee. He's a class player. He just needed a bit of the rest. I think he just got ran into the ground too soon because he shined too brightly, especially in the Leicester Cup game where he scored that absolute screamer. Give him time to recuperate, give him time to get back up to fitness, and I guarantee in this Arne Slot team, he will be the attacking midfielder. He is the ideal attacking midfielder for an Arne Slot system, who likes to get in the box alongside the striker and create or score goals. That is Dominik Szoboszlai, as well as Alexis McAllister, another player who is a keep. There's rumours of him being linked to Real Madrid. There's supposedly a £60 million release clause, but McAllister's refuted it, saying he's happy at the club. We've heard that before. For me, I just want to keep... I think McAllister's been our best signing, and I think he's been one of these signings of the summer. He's carried us at points. Some of the goals he scored have been outrageous. The Sheffield United one in particular was out of this world. He's a class player, and the fact we got him for 30 to 35 million is fantastic. I'm so happy that Julian Ward is coming back because he was one of the ones who orchestrated this signing. He's phenomenal, and if he's not the number 10, then it will be Szoboszlai. If it's not Szoboszlai, it'll be McAllister. One of them two will be the starting number 10 for Arne Slot. I guarantee it. Let's go to another one, and it's another controversial one. Absolutely. I believe that Luis Diaz should maybe be sold. Now, there's a reason for this. I think Diaz is brilliant. He's got 8 goals, 5 assists in 37 league appearances. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's definitely not bad. At points this season, he looked back to his best. But he's coming up to 28 years old now. Diaz, of the front 5, I think has been in the worst form this season. You could maybe say Nunez because of the misses, but 11 goals and 8 assists from him begs to differ. Gakpo really came into his own at the end of the season. Diaz is linked with a lot of different clubs, and he's been touted with the highest transfer fee of the bunch. Nunez is rumoured around 50. Diaz, supposedly, we can recoup up to £70 million for him. Diaz is a good player, don't get me wrong, and the Arsenal FA Cup game in particular, I thought he looked outstanding. But we have 5 forwards. And of the 5, I would argue he's the worst. He suffers so much from the comparisons to Sadio Mane, and I think for me, Diaz being sold would recuperate a lot of money and make way for other players in this team who would benefit more from the positions. We've already mentioned the likes of Ben Doak and Kay Gordon going out on loan. I just think if we need money, Diaz is the one for me who can go anonymous alongside Gakpo for most of the matches. And yeah, he's the one I'd be up for selling. Another sell that I would definitely consider is Kostas Tsimikas. I don't think Tsimikas is bad, but he's a backup left back. We already have 3 players vying for that position in Gomez, Tsimikas, Robertson. Not to mention we also have young players like Luke Chambers, Scanlon on loan, like Owen Beck. We have so many young talents in left back. it doesn't make sense for Tsimikas to stick around. He's coming up to the twilight of his career, or the peak of his career even. He's too good to be like a backup left back at Liverpool. I think he'd more suit going to, say, like Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, something like that, because he is talented. He has got a good cross on him. He's a good player. Recoup money from him again while he's still got a long-term contract, and we can use the money to invest elsewhere. Because we've got Andrew Robertson, who I'd definitely be keeping, but I would consider maybe moving him to the backup left-back role in the next year or two. I think we can see his legs going. He hasn't looked his usual best. He's coming up to his 30s now. He's starting to get injured, which is something that never really happened with Robertson. I think we need to bring someone young in. I've suggested Aiton Nori from Wolves. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. And maybe start moving Robertson back a little bit, wind down his game time. He needs someone to deputise who's going to be happy to be a backup. Tsimikas, we can recoup money for him, bring in someone younger who can eventually overtake Robertson. Tsimikas is never going to reach that point of overtaking Andrew Robertson, and yeah, it just makes sense to me. Joel Matip, we know is leaving, devastated by this one. Really bad injury earlier on in the season, and that's why he's had to leave. We have Reece Williams. At this point, I'd just be selling. I just don't think he's ever going to be good enough. We thank him for the 2021 season alongside Nat Phillips for getting us Champions League football, but he's never going to be the level we need to reach the title again. He's not even too young. I think he's 23 or something along those lines. Like, he's getting up there now. I think it's just time for Reece Williams to move on. Maybe sell him to like a club in the Scottish League, a lower league. Just get a bit of money back for him. And I would want to keep Kelleher. Don't get me wrong. I would keep him. But I think when we have goalkeepers lining up, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, I'm sorry, but I'd sell Kelleher. I think this is more for his benefit than it is ours. He's too good to be a backup goalkeeper, and I think he's going to want to leave this summer. This isn't so much I want him gone. This is just what I think will happen with Kelleher. I think he will leave this summer. I suggest to go to Celtic, maybe. I just think get a lot of money back for him, recoup some of those funds. He's too good to be a backup. We saw at points this season. We didn't miss Alisson when Kelleher was in goal, and that's the best goalkeeper in the world. It's not like Bradley and Trent, where he's one of the best fullbacks. Alisson is the best goalkeeper on the planet. And the fact Kelleher was able to just step in and we didn't miss Alisson tells you how good he is. He should not be a backup. He's in his mid-20s. Go off and make your trade somewhere where you will play regular football, because you're too good to be our second choice keeper. Next up, we have Joe Gomez. Is an absolute keep, one of the most versatile players this season. Left back, right back, centre back, CDM. Didn't miss a beat in any of them. He's class. Keep him. You need players like that in your squad. Next up, Kanate is a keep. I think he's top quality, but the injuries are still there and they're still mounting up, and that's the same issue we had with Joel Matip a few years ago, where you can see how good he is, but he just keeps getting injured. It's the same issue with Thiago, maybe not to the same extent as Naby Keita, but these players who you can see how good they are, but because of injuries you just don't get to see them as much as you'd like, and that just seems to be the situation with Ibrahima Konate, and he needs to sort them out ASAP. There was a period earlier this season where he looked like he had, but we're not quite there yet. Alisson, absolute keep, best keeper on the planet. Van Dijk, the captain, absolute keep. He's in contract negotiations, supposedly, but I've heard other reports saying that there's no guarantee, nothing's been decided yet, but he said he will be here next season. So we get one more year of Van Dijk at least. We need to sign him up. We absolutely need to. He's the best centre-back on the planet. Yeah, no reason to get rid of him. Curtis Jones is one I would keep as well. I think he was having the season of his life up until his injury against Brentford, I believe it was. But and then when he came back, he just couldn't get back up to rhythm. Diogo Jota is one I'd say keep for one more season, but if things don't improve, we are definitely going to need to look at this one for now. And yeah, I'm unsure. I'd be keeping him for next season. I just think if he carries on with injuries, if he carries on going the way that it is with his fitness, it does become to a point where he is in his late 20s. Is it worth the gamble anymore? Because he's class, 10 goals. He's our third highest goal scorer in the league, and he missed the most matches through injury. So Yeah, but I'd keep him for now. But if it's a case of, the injuries keep piling up, we're going to have to discuss it. Trent, again, keep, not even up for debate. Kwanzaa, I'd keep as well. 2 young, world-class players. Maybe Kwanzaa's not world-class, but he's come from out of nowhere this season, and I'm beyond shocked that we've had him in the ranks and haven't played in. This season, he's got through right in the deep end. St. James's Park, the Molineux, and he has not missed a beat. He's been unbelievable, and we need to sign him up to a new long-term contract and just keep him at this club for as long as possible, because we might have the next Van Dijk on our hands here. Harvey Elliott, another keep. Gravenberch, I think, is a keep. He's not been bad. He started off the season like a house on fire, and then it dipped majorly for him. I see no reason to sell him just yet, though. What's the point? Darwin Nunez is absolutely a keep. I think he's brilliant, but he does miss chances, and I got a lot of flack for this in one of my previous videos where I said that his main role is to cause chaos, blah, blah, blah. He needs to finish more, absolutely, definitely does. He can't keep missing those easy chances, but there's no disputing there's a player in there. Up until Salah went to AFCON, I'd say he was one of the best attackers in the league. He's on 11 goals, 8 assists in the Premier League. He was on fire, and then it just died a death. Missed open chances, especially against the likes of Atalanta. He missed against, I can't remember exactly who it was, but he missed a few open goals through the season. Luton was a big one. He does need to get it together, but I think under Arne Slot, he will thrive, because Arne Slot loves a striker. And Mo Salah, one of my favourite ever players, someone who's apparently sticking around at Liverpool, but I think it's time for Salah to leave this club. Salah has said he wants to stay. He wants to win trophies. Now, for me, personally, I think the last games of the season, Salah has looked beyond poor. And I think he's one of the greatest players in the history of not only Liverpool, but the Premier League. He's unbelievable. He's one of the best players I can recall ever watching. And I've always put him up in the Suarez, Torres, Salah debate. I've always said Salah's top. But he's in his 30s. He's got 1 year left on his contract. If a Saudi offer comes back in, 150 million, round about that mark, that's so much money that can be used to reinvest in areas of the pitch where we know we need defensive reinforcements, like centre-back, CDM, another goalkeeper perhaps. Pertuiga is the backup, by the way, from remembering before. No, it's not. It's Pitaluga. Oh my God, I'm sorry. But yeah, Salah, it might be time to go. And for me, I think that's too much money to turn down. It feels like the whole team has to rotate around Mohamed Salah when he plays now. It feels like everyone has to cater to his style. For me, I just think it's time to go. It just would make more sense now. Recoup the money while he still has a contract. There's no guarantee he signs a contract. We could get to halfway through next season and he goes, I'm leaving at the end. And then we miss out potentially on up to £200 million. We didn't do it last summer for good reason. I think now is the time to do it. And that's the list. So as you can see, Matip Thiago leaving, Cade Gordon, Bobby Clark, Badge on loan, Endo Diaz, Simicas, Reece Williams, Adrian Kelleher, Salah for sell. And then if we go up just a little bit, we've got Diogo Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kwanzaa, Elliott, Gravenberch, Nunez, Van Dijk, Alisson, Jones, Konate, Gomez, Robertson, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Bobby Clark, Cody Gakpo and Conor Bradley all staying at the club. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is there any I've got right, any I've got wrong? I feel like the sell column's definitely going to cause a few comments down below. But let me know what you guys think, and make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.